Yeah, so I figured we just go over like some exercise selection.
Sure, yeah.
You know, Noah's training back today. I'm not training today. Yeah. So I don't know if you want to start with some back exercises.
Yeah, let's do back, and then you can either jump in for like light set or something if you want to just do that. And that's easy enough,
sounds
right?
Good.
Okay, Monster.
Do you actually want to put
you lead the way?
Oh, do you actually want to put him through a workout, or you want to just do like...
No, I'll let him pick, and then we'll just pick it apart. That's easy enough.
Do you want to do that?
Yeah, we can do that. Yeah, what are we going to start with here?
Because it's your equipment. Half
stuff?
the time I'll be like, wait, do you have and we'll waste time doing that.
This is ascension. Lift up to a new dimension. This is ascension.
Come on up from there. Good. If I bring you up a little higher, drop your chest down between your shoulders. Can you bring your chest down between your shoulders? There you go. So the lower you go, the harder this gets. And we're gonna push on that whole forearm because we want to get the serratus stuff. No bum squeeze, no bum squeeze. There. Imagine that you're gonna try and pull your abs down and try and pull your butt behind you. There you go. This is called your behind, so we're gonna keep it behind you. Now, there you go, push. Can you feel serratus doing some stuff now?
Yep.
Just, yep. And then relax, good. Okay.
So is he protracting through it, or you have him
actually you want him to pull behind him. He still has to control protraction, but he can choose to do this or this and play a role there. Does that make sense to you?
Yeah.
All right.
So why, instead of protracting for a warm-up for a pull-down, why are we...
We're still going to work on his serratus, yes? Did you feel like you had to do some serratus? About his obliques? His obliques, so the word is interdigitate, very fancy word that just means weave. So your obliques and your serratus weave together, and your lats weave in around there. So if we want to get lats and obliques, and your serratus is all this shoulder girdle stuff, which we're going to definitely challenge. I want to try and, hey, let's pay attention and kind of tie all those guys together. Yeah. Does that make sense to you? Right, we're going to do it one more time. And you want to be this vertical for any reason specific? Nope. No, just choose where you go.
This is where I'm at.
Yeah, you just like to feel all this stuff here? Yeah. Okay, all right, relax. All right, how heavy is that for you?
Oh,
that's
medium.
Medium? Okay, so let's pick something that feels light.
For knees.
For knees, right? Okay, so most bodybuilders are going to do something really, really like pick up stuff, and you'll see like either he's hanging out using his body weight, right? But then you might see somebody that says, oh, I'm going to use this, and then you see what most bodybuilders do.
Yeah.
So look, I'm moving the weight now, right?
Nothing's going on.
I'm moving the weight. Dude, don't pick up my technique. No, all right. So what happens though if this thing is built, and what if I hook up under this and I actually squeeze into it? And then what if I could choose any kind of leaning I want now, right? I could pick different pieces of lats that I'm involved. But what if I just said abs are involved again? And one of the things you did that's interesting, you did this. You hooked your forearm. So a lot of bodybuilder elbow problems, right? And they give you this handle, which is kind of cool, but I want to actually try and figure out, I want to push on it. I want you to push on the flat of that handle, and then you're even just doing that, you're going to change a whole bunch of stuff, right? If you push on versus I hang on this and I let it take me where it wants. It wants to do this to me. Yeah. And so now that's a lot of this type of forearm stuff, right? No, that's just forearm crap. You're just burying this in your forearm. That's more like trying to do this than it is trying to do this. So try and push on that. Try that. And this is light, and I want you to use this. Now you don't even need that. What if I said taller? Because that's an option too, right? You can be taller. Remember the ab thing I talked to you about getting narrower? Yeah. He tends to just lift his chest up and forget about his abs. Yeah. So what if I said we're going to bring his body back? He likes that tall one. I'll give you that. Don't worry about it. If I bring his neck kind of forward. So all I want you to do is think about pushing on that pad right here. Can you do that for me the whole time? And then, good. So imagine it's still going to look like this. See where this cable, and this is kind of funny, this cable's here, but we're going to follow this here. And if I picked on you somewhere, I'd pick on this. This is the whole exercise right here, yes? Yeah? Versus under here. It's not really
just go there?
Yeah, no, you can keep going. But if you're going to fight, it looks like you want to fight from there. I want you to fight from here. See how you end up going down more? Yeah. No, imagine you coming back at me. Find me. There. Now see this? Turn this. There. Hold that. Hold there. Hold there. Hold there. Now I want you to sit up, still pushing on me. As you sit up taller, think about using your legs. Sit up taller, even taller. Now look what happens. See how the internal rotation, he starts losing that external. So can you bring that up taller through the shoulders? Externally rotate. There. Do you feel how that had to be happening at your shoulders? Does that make sense? Yeah. Now follow that path up there and keep this bicep facing up. Can you do that for me? There you go. And go, bicep facing up. There you go. He's big. Yeah, see how right there he just wants to start to turn. There you go. Good. So force that. Good. Now think about this as long or as narrow as you can be. How would you push me away up here? How would you push me away? You only got one thing, your ass is going the opposite direction. There you go, now keep that the whole time. Keep pushing me away.
Since you try to stand as tall as possible.
Yeah, but who's gonna do that? Right, there you go. Because how many guys do you see the head bobs all over the place, right? So sees the head going, what's happening? He's losing some kind of trunk. And if all this stuff wraps around, lats wrap around a trunk, then don't only want to stabilize the trunk. So when you get as high as you can, think narrower and narrower and narrower there. So again, you can let them stretch and relax, but I need you to hold the abs by the time you get up there. Because your lats attach way down here. Keep the tension in, keep the tension in, otherwise that's just a free ride up here. Good. And so you might not be able to get all the way to the top and keep all this tension. There. Now come on down. No free ride there. And right there's the end. Does that make sense to you?
Yes.
You can go further, but it's going to come from somewhere else.
Yes.
So the whole point is this. There, that's it. And again, drive that handle. Don't let that handle get away though. Drive the handle there. Drive the handle there. Yeah, there. There. That's it. There. That's it. See the top? You kind of controlled the top.
Yes.
You control the top from your trunk. Yeah. And if you go further, all of a sudden the bobbing starts and you just get a free ride to rest. If we're really just about emptying out the tank, then it's about holding tension the whole time, even when it's really hot, right? And so I said, here's a dumbbell, hang out here, just rest though. You're like, oh, dude, that'd be a bad thing.
Yeah.
So, but up here, it's just like, oh, I'm kind of hanging out.
Yeah.
And so all of a sudden, just controlling that. So a big chunk for you is controlling that from the trunk, right? So you start saying, I want all this thickness on my back. And it's like, I need to weave in my trunk almost all the time,
yes.
right? Whether that's a dumbbell row, whether that's a T-bar row, whether that's a seated something. If you're sitting down, most people just go, oh, I don't need to think about my legs because I'm sitting down. It's like, well, wait a minute, you have a trunk that's holding on to all this shoulder girdle stuff and you're not thinking about the platform that all the shoulder stuff is on. That makes sense? Yeah, you're letting go of the foundation because we're training shoulders, so who cares? Yeah. Makes sense, right? Okay, makes sense? All right, that's good. Where would you go from here? Last one, you got it. In the direction.
Slightly in front.
Yeah. There you go.
So I usually do that one, and then Ben showed me one upright for more Terry's. So I'll show you. It's a sort of like that.
Sure.
So you just correct.
So Terry's is going to be whether he.
What is that compared to the one that I did, externally rotated?
Yeah.
That would be more lat focused, right? And that way it's more upper back and Terry's.
Well, depending on how high he goes, right? So if he leans further back,
yes,
you're going to get again this angle of this stuff coming through the middle of his back. He's going to see more of this sort of thoracic part. Does that make sense? Right? That was dying for you, right? Okay. If I wanted to get him up as tall as possible, I might get some angle that comes down to the lumbar and even ties into his waist. But that means I need an angle that looks like it comes up through him here. He'd have to be able to have a lot more external rotation than he has right now. So I'd have to pick a different angle for him. I'd have to pick a different.
Do you know what external rotation is?
No.
Internal, that's external on the back.
So when you come down, you tend to want to do this. And this is where it turns into like you pushing here as opposed to me. That's why I was picking on you back here. I was like, push me away, right? And then as soon as you got that, you got down lower and lower. See, yeah, he got lower and lower, and all of a sudden, oh, I can squeeze all this stuff. Yeah, almost look. A lot of the bias for almost everything is can I move the most weight, right? And that for a lot of guys is okay. You know, that the meritocracy of 500-pound bench press. I'll listen to you. And the funny part is, well, there's some place for that. At some point, part of me just wonders, you know, we're still in the world of bodybuilding here, so contract stuff, right? And picking stuff out, because when you get on stage, you know, if you're standing next to me, you're winning every contest. You're not standing next to me, right? He's not standing next to me. He's standing.
Bodybuilding is like almost still in its elementary state, almost.
Well, it's this point of like breaking it all down to like this, you know, this. Yeah, there's still monsters and everything, but you're standing next to other monsters, so it's standing at the line of the
When
bank.
someone genetically has like that, they just train their back like that genetically, it opens up and contracts.
Yeah.
And, you know what I mean? And
You're gonna watch
don't
some
know
guys that walk in the gym go and get bigger, and you're like,
Yeah.
oh, that's the guy I'm competing against, right? So
Yeah.
we're not talking about are you biggest guy here or can you move the most weight. For me, just says, yeah, that's fine. Weight, there is weight load stuff going on, but you can pick out all these little pieces and then start to see that development. That's gonna matter, you know, not when you're at the club, you know, look as big. Okay, that's gonna matter when you're standing on stage for the stuff you actually want to do.
Yeah.
I want to see that kind of development. It's like, okay, then you have to pick that out. You have to be able strategic to pick that out.
For someone that has a weak back, do you think it's better to do a lot of, you know, unilateral, isolateral movements first? Like, for example, a row. You get the prime seated row here,
Yeah.
which is not unilateral, or you get the Nautilus, which is
Yeah, you can play with either. I mean, I think either of them is saying I should row like this or with a dumbbell, or I should use some type of, you know, like cable system, whatever. I'm probably just, yeah, if you can feel it, there's start with that. If you said, hey, I have to do double stuff and I can feel it. Problem is machines, you can play tons of stuff with machines and then just learn to contract stuff. And then somebody might say, okay, great, here's another way to contract your back, and then you choose another way. Does that make sense? I'll bet you there's some guys that don't train 50 different back exercises that still have amazing backs. I don't know, but I'll bet you there's guys out there that go, yeah, I do chin-ups, and you're like, oh, that's it? What? You know?
one thing that we've both sort of never really got down dirty with is like things like barbell rows, T-bar rows, dumbbell rows. They've always just haven't felt great.
Yeah, so a big part of that usually turns into the arc that the machine. So there's I did something with Ben a number of years ago, and it was like a T-bar row thing, and it was just even different handles, and how the T-bar row only fit him for, like when I really looked at it, him doing it, it fit him for about 6 inches.
And the rest of it was useless.
Everything else was something else, and I was like, yep, you can feel your back now. He goes, yeah, and I was like, and now? And he goes, yeah, and then no, and so there's some guys it'll fit different, and there's nothing wrong with that. Some guys will fit more, but there's a lot of people that just can move a lot of weight, and it's like, I don't know where that's going. That's probably the big thing for a lot of these things is where does it fit you? I mean, this stuff with all its ability to this is the one where you can change the thing, right?
Where the tension's coming from.
Yeah, you can change change the strength curve, right? So for me, anything they give me to sit on or give me a pad, I want to be on top of it. So if they gave me this shin pad, why would they give you that? I want you to push into it. And if they give you this, I want you to stay on it. So I don't care how far back you go. Imagine you stay on it. So if I was going to help him, I would just do this.
Push into them.
You feel the difference?
Yeah.
No? Okay, so I want to think about, you got all these things here to push you into that pad. So imagine those two things are trying to go, yeah, there you go. You see how small his range got? That's fine, I don't really care, as long as his sensation and what he's feeling went, oh, way up. Versus, oh, you didn't move the machine as far, but that's where he's moving. Does that make more sense, right? So we would just follow this path here, right? This path here. Otherwise it's this on this, but it's this elbow through the handle, right? Handle through the elbow. And if that changes at some point, you see this. So it's like the handle and the elbow are going in different directions. Then you're going to get like all this nasty stuff in here. Unless you can bring this around. Bring this around. Yeah. Can you picture your collarbones moving at all? Your collarbones are forward now, right?
Yep.
So imagine they're actually going to move out and wide as they go. Yeah, there you go. Is that a better picture for you?
Yep.
So now it's not about your hands moving, imagine your collarbones moving. Yeah, there you go. So that's a better cue for him, right? All of a sudden he can move this stuff because he's thinking about this end as opposed to my hands or my elbows or whatever. He can think about this. And then if at some point he can't, you get to go, meh, and make fun of him, or you get to stop him right away. There, that's it. You feel that was just that one conversation you wanted to jump to your hands? Stay out of your hands, stay out of your hands, stay out of your hands, stay out of your hands. They're just ropes. They're just ropes. They're just ropes. Yeah, there you go. Oh, better. Wow. Stupid little weights. Okay, so as soon as you start thinking about that, and it's like, oh wow, that's a whole different conversation rather than right? Because this could easily become one of those exercises where you're just, you know, oh, that's too heavy for me. as the big guys pick all this up. So, oh, that's just really heavy on the bottom.
Yeah, it's a lot of pull at the bottom.
Jesus. So once you're up here, you can see everybody wants to ride this thing. Right? Everybody just wants to, like, look, I'm doing it again.
Yeah.
Wait, you're not doing anything. So I'd have to stay, depending on my monkey arm, I'd have to stay as almost angled into this, right? And almost everybody tends to want to angle off this right away, right? Depending on their body size and stuff like that. So I'd want to stay like almost forward in this. Where does everybody else want to go? They want to go backwards, right? They want to do a backflip. So I'd have to say, all right, I'm going to have to stay forward in this, and then there's my end, or there's my end, or there's my end, whichever way you want to pick. But my elbows and hands have to go together. Does that make sense, right? So this will feel like you're leaning way forward, way forward. Does that make sense, right? Otherwise, you're like, oh yeah, I want to be upright. So where did this thing drop off? It drops off way up here. So everybody's, you know, which is fine. You just have to know that, you know, everybody's going to want to sneak back here as fast as possible. Nobody wants to suck at the end down here, right? So there's that where people are relaxing in the lengthened position. I'm like, there's no relaxing with the way this is set up for the heavy spot. Right. Right, makes sense, right? So it's gonna feel like it sucks way at the bottom. You've got to make sure you're ready for that. Hang out on this.
Yeah, I usually do one arm at a time on this one too.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
Did you do a single leg?
Yeah, single leg.
Wow. Okay, so let's try double leg just for shits and giggles. So you guys both do something like this. I see you guys both kind of stick your thumbs on top of stuff.
Yeah.
Right? Your little bear paws ears. But what I want you to think about is, I want you to think about fingers and then wrap around. Because what you guys tend to do is you tend to drive some extra sneaky motion by casting your wrists, right? You both hide it pretty good. But I want you to think about just this idea of fingers create grip more than palm. As soon as that thumb sneaks in, you're starting to want to really manipulate some stuff, okay? So we're going to still think about holding it, but fingers. And from there, I want to think, just for this one, we're going to think about both legs, okay? Just for now. And just see what this path looks like for you. And that's, you know, this thing can go wider, narrower. The only thing it can't really do is a lot of this. So it's like, all right, whatever. Great piece of equipment. And whether he wants to do a rotation, that's cool. If you want to rotate, that's cool. Bring it back. And then finish with rotation. There. Does that make sense? But you have to use your legs to rotate. Taller, tallest. There. Alright, so based on your back stuff, I wouldn't be doing that tuck under thing. There. And then hold there. Now rotate, use your legs to, no, bring it back. You got it. Now use your legs to rotate towards me. Turn. There. Does that make sense now?
Yep.
Not until you get to the end. So middle. There. There you go. Legs. Good. Use your legs to turn. Yes. Good. There you go. That's better.
Wow. Whew.
Good. Think about find the first couple first before you worry about it. There. Control the bottom of your legs. There. He wants to go advanced right away. There you go. Good. Now imagine there's a chest pad here. Your job is to use it. There. It's just called your abs. There you go. There, that's better. Yeah, there you go. That's better. So all of a sudden he just has to imagine something's there, and all of a sudden he anchors it. There. There you go. Good, you never lose this post. Yeah. Good, hold. Legs, bring it with you. Good. Good, keep that post. You gotta keep it. Head still, turn. There.
Oh, that's crazy. Posting is crazy.
That's crazy.
It's life changing.
Okay. All of a sudden, one little thing, and you're like, oh wait, that's
crazy.
Right. So any of those things, you could try 20 different cues. They don't matter as much as the one that kind of hits you and go, oh, there it is, right? And then it's like, take a picture in your head. Oh wait, do that again. Everybody I know is like, wait,
like
find that again, find that again.
Pushing you away. And
yeah.
pulling.
And the viper is once you find that for you, that customized kind of cue that makes so much sense for you. This is when somebody I know comes up to you and goes, do what I do, and you kind of go, okay, and sometimes it will work, and sometimes you're like, I don't really know what he's doing. So when you find that one for you, then it's like, now that's gonna be the hardest rep, and then all of a sudden, how many of those do you have? And then all of a sudden that emptied the tank out quite differently, didn't it?
Times that by 100 workouts.
Yeah, do that by 100 reps, by 1,000 reps, by 100 workouts in a year, and you're like, oh, I'm gutting the tank every time. Versus, no, I found a way to make it easier.
Yeah.
And I finished the reps, I guess I should put more load. And ultimately, at the end of the day, there's nothing wrong with putting more load on there. I don't have any issue with that at all. But you can make every one of those work harder, and then put more load, make them work harder. At some point, like, no, it's too heavy for me to get that. Then I go back down, but I'm the one getting all the benefit with less of the risk, right? Because the risk is putting it into stuff, you know, cross joints that just I'm moving more weight, but I don't know where's it going. Injury here comes.
I try and lock my shoulder almost like down, and I feel it pulling. I've just tried to be avoiding doing this.
Okay, so what I want you to do is think about just turning your bicep facing up, even if your shoulder's up in the air.
Okay, yep.
Okay,
Kind of keeps it down.
That's all I care about.
Okay.
So the higher you go, the more you have to get external rotation.
Yep, bicep is facing.
Yeah, bicep faces up. You see at the end there, see right where you kind of went, oh, I want to let it go a little bit.
Yep.
There. So that might be the full range for you.
Do it now.
I'm going to give you a rounded pad. Look at that. Cool.
You want a timer?
And then minimum.
You want a timer?
So as soon as his head starts bobbing, I know he's starting to move his spine around. They gave you these pads. You can choose that one. They gave you this pad. You can choose that one. There you go. See, all the directions will be fine, right? All the extra help, you can use the floor, you can use that. Good. And there he goes. He's turning on his head again. There. You gave him one thing. Like that same idea, the chest pad is like here at his head. He has to keep his head still. And all the other exercises start changing some of that orientation. Does that make sense, right? Because the collarbone is working with this thing, and the shoulder blade is working with this thing. So if the head starts bobbing around.
So head is straight, bicep is
Or I can even
externally
think
rotated.
the throat is forward. Does it make like the belly of the throat is angled this way, right? This is normal. And as soon as you see somebody doing this, they're starting to flex their neck. They flex their neck, their collarbone changes position.
Okay.
The collarbone changes positions. Now you've got some different things that can impact. Like, oh, I can do this, but I'm not doing the thing I want. Does that make sense?
Yep.
4, 3.
So the arc of the machine, right, is a big arc, like big, long effort arm for us, right?
Yeah.
And so that turns into this big, huge arc thing, depending on wherever you want to go, right? Is this path, and right now this path doesn't fit me.
Yeah. You would have to go lower?
Well, no, look at where my handle is. Look where my wrist wants to go. So this doesn't, like, I can start to sneak down a little bit.
Well, could you manipulate?
But you see how it wants to go
Like this?
He wants to go, no matter what I do, it's trying to go higher than I want to be. So
your arm's so long.
just, yeah, because I'm a free.
Yeah.
But that idea of I'm out here and it's like, okay, I can follow this path. I can pick any of these. It doesn't matter. It just means I won't have, the machine doesn't follow me all the way.
Yes.
So I'm just going to use it for me versus, oh no, this is full range of the machine. Well, the full range of the machine is apparently back here.
Yeah.
So I'm committing, I have to change me to get the full range. Like, I don't care.
Yeah.
This is full range for me. So there's a path, and then right about there, it's going to turn into some other motion for me. Does that make sense, right? And so some people will fit equipment better than other people fit equipment, you know what I mean, right? And so that's where you just say, oh, I just have to know how to pick as I said, that T-bar row feels like I have a range that is here, and it only happens, it fits me great right there. And because we have this, right, he doesn't have this in Chatham, right? So his example is like, oh yeah, it's a great piece, let's take advantage of it, versus, oh, I can just do a dumbbell. He's like, oh, okay, that means I'm gonna have to push the whole time. And downwards and backwards now, backwards. Think about backwards, not you, backwards. There, by the time you get to the end, it has to be that feeling of not worrying about down anymore. Does that make sense? This is literally push that way, Noah. You all right? Push forward, push downwards, push backwards. There's 3 directions that have to happen, right? And then it's fight forward, fight upwards, fight backwards, fight forwards, go forwards, fight downwards, now fight backwards right away. There you go. Feel the difference? At first it's, oh, I'm doing one, and then I stay with the same direction. It's like 3 different directions. It's different.
Back.
There you go. That's better.
Shoulders.
So it's like we use the abs, we use the bench, we find 3 different directions. We keep our head nice and still. Keep the head still. We're moving around that head. There you go. So it's like we have a piece of equipment, we can take advantage of it. That way, head still, downwards,
Form changed so
backwards,
much.
backwards. Yeah, there you go. Good, and there's just no free ride. Don't let the thing move you. There you go. Through the machine. Good. Fight.
There.
So there, you could pick 7s out of this if you wanted.
Yeah.
If you really wanted to suck, you could pick 7s and be like 3 different directions.
And when you're pulling it in, you're really trying to wrap those shoulders around too, right?
We're finishing backwards as
Yes.
opposed to what he had the tendency to finish downwards. It's like, yeah, he felt this really, like I bet you there was a lot of feeling of, oh yeah, I feel that.
Yeah.
And then I want to keep going in the same direction. Like, wait, the machine's going the other way. So it's like 3 different paths. I have to go forward, downward, and then backward by the time I finish. And you'll see guys that kind of ride off one of those. They'll just spend time going up, and then they're busy coming down, and then they keep coming down. It's like, my shoulders don't keep going down anymore.
Yeah.
My shoulders aren't going down by
I
the
want
end.
to try just one more just to get that.
Forwards to here, back up, forwards to here, back up, forwards to here, and then from here, middle. I want you to think about this is up to the back.
I really like to get wide around today.
That's
like,
fine.
I feel like I have to, I don't know, more
That's
grounded.
where you fit. So this is upwards, right? And then forwards, downwards, backwards. Backwards to upwards, upwards to backwards, backwards, downwards. Good, and never lose track of this pad. Okay. Yeah, there. See his pec jump in. That's good. There. Yep. Up. Pec should be high. Pec should be high. Yep. Pec should be high up there. There you go. There. There. Good. And then remember, use this. Otherwise, you're bobbing around. As soon as his head bobs, I know he let go of that.
One other row. 4.
Now he has some speed there, right? So you can pick him out. So you start picking on his speed if you wanted to. You would say, hey, I want to control that. Big squeeze, slowing down, and then through, behind you. Good. And then think about out to up, and then back down again. Go down to back. Good. Forward to up. Down to back. Back. Yeah, there. Good. Oh, that was the best one. Good. Down to back. Good. Yeah, there you go. He's fighting it now. All the way up. As high as you go. As far back. Now forward, downward, backward again. Yes. There you go.
Oh boy! Wow. This one I thought I was doing these really good.
You're doing great.
Oh,
But you
good.
can pick out all those little pieces, right? And then say, okay, I'm going to pick on that aspect. And maybe for you guys, that's
cool.
like, oh, what's that one? It's like, oh, there's that front thing. I'm supposed to pull that out, pop that out.
So cool.
All right.
What I like about this one is that you can kind of drive force internally as you're pulling it down.
Yeah, so this is the high version of that low.
Yeah.
With the trailing arms, right? You got these cool trailing arms that you can do all kinds of stuff into. So when this thing can adjust to you, right? But there is going to be eventually some barriers that you could push into if you wanted to play with that. But this will always, instead of the arc thing that we had over there where the arc had to fit us because the handle was fixed, now you have a trailing arm, which means this will move and there'll always be a perpendicular. No matter what this does, this will always stay perpendicular to you.
Because of movement.
Because it can move here, this will always stay, this handle will always be perpendicular to you. Whereas the other one has a big long arm, big effort arm. If I said I have to hold this, there'd be a place where like, well, that sort of fits me, and we'd be dealing with that 90-degree problem again. It's like, this fits here. Like, can my wrist go, oh shit, my wrist can't go that way. That's the T-bar problem. Does that make sense, right?
Yeah.
So this will always be 90
Exactly
degrees to
what a
here,
person
okay?
needs.
So that's a big advantage for you.
So I would use to push from here, punch down my abs, lean back slightly, like kind of wrapping around.
This is also why all the prime handles seem like a big change for everybody. It's like, wow, this feels great. It's like, because they're all like little trailing arms. They're all trailing arms.
This one I really get a good wraparound feeling.
Yeah.
Well, but I have to use lots of control on it.
So all the stuff we've kind of talked about, right? About where his head position, does he use his legs, right? Even when he brings it back up, does he give it a free ride, or does he use his legs to put it down? It's weird because it's going up. It's the same idea.
Yes.
Right? Because this is really just towards you and away from you. Forget the up and down part. So when something's going further away from you, there's going to be some length tension that feels easy, but I want you to be careful about going, oh, it's light. You're just getting stronger out there. There's way more sensation. It's getting weaker in here. Makes it sound like, oh, this is where it's heavy, but it's just back to the, oh, this is where all the control is harder to find.
Right.
Okay? But it doesn't mean I let go when it's long.
Yeah, I put a lot of force through my feet,
Yeah.
through my quads, through the pad. Abs flex.
And then we can just watch to see. It gives him some sense of, and ultimately he should be doing this himself, right? Just that little hand, and all of a sudden he can dial it in a little more, right? Does that make sense, Lauren?
Yep.
As soon as he has some sense of like, oh, where the middle is. Now, if we wanted to make it harder for him or something like that, we could change his angle. There's the one he probably likes the most, and I don't care about, do you want to pick on that or not? It's just that sense of careful here, that this is moving less than this. So think about this moving more. You were doing great. You're doing great. You just wanted to start finishing with your hand. The hand is just a rope. There. The hand is just a rope.
Looks great.
Yeah, so your job is to make the abs as narrow as possible, not as flat, as narrow, right? Like we talked about, that sort of feeling of moving from the side, right? As soon as that narrow happens, all of a sudden the lats, everything have something to really pull on. But for so many guys, it's chest up and rib cage is flaring, and I can't feel my lats, or I only feel the upper part of my lats, not the lower part. There you go. Feel that farther down here now? So before the one we had, he was picking out all this upper thoracic part. Now I can literally draw a line down into here, right? And look, follow his shirt. See how his shirt moves?
I've never seen him run so good.
There you go. You look great.
Jeez.
There you go. So now look at that.
It's all opening up.
It just doesn't move now. So it's been a battle more with his posture that makes him side bend and does all that. That's where all those deviations come from. You've been doing this, so that turns into, or somebody says pull everything down, and then that turns into down is now, and that's side bend. That's different.
That's great.
Does that make sense?
That's amazing. Yeah,
Because that could be just, oh, I haven't been thinking about my waist needs to go this way because everybody's looking somehow in the mirror. Like vacuuming is a huge deal. And I'm like, yeah, that's cool. I don't have any problem with that, but it's still narrowing the rib cage. So the bottom stenodorian, the bottom 6 ribs go this way. The top 6, like the sternum, does this. But almost everybody with the chest up cues turns into this all the time. It's like, wait a minute, the bottom 6 actually go this way. That's a whole different direction.
It's sort of sad that we've been training for like 10, 15, 20 years and we're just learning this stuff now. I know. What's going on?
But I mean, the cool thing is, like we talked about, you have all this platform of stuff you've already tried. So you can kind of go, okay, I can erase that. Or it's not like you've never done this before. So now it's just, oh my God, that feels, oh wow, that's different than that.
I feel like you're like going to grow the fitness industry or the community or whatever it is. Like, yeah, the teenager should be probably getting a better foundation.
Yeah. Well, you to go back and say, wait a minute, I'm how old? And if I could have learned this at 18, maybe I don't have a back problem, or maybe I'd
be like a superhuman right now.
I'm feeling great. I love bodybuilding, whether I'm ever going to be on stage or not.
Yeah.
But I feel awesome and my joints feel good. And
good foundation.
Yeah, totally. And then all those other things start kind of growing against each other. that's a piece of that, that's a piece of that. So to me, that's like a night and day difference, right? So now let's pick on this one more time. We're gonna do one more. So he likes, for sure, the height he picked. He picked the right angle. He's in his wheelhouse, right? He picked exactly here's what I like, right? So you know I'm gonna try and screw with that for sure. So now, what we're gonna do, from the hips, not from the rib cage, we're gonna come back. We're gonna come back. We're gonna come back. Now the funny part, back is also up. So I'm gonna say we're gonna come back more. And you're really gonna have to use your legs and your abs now.
Yep.
Okay? So you stay up this tall with me. Now again, don't worry about range, worry about just feeling. But your abs have to do a lot more now, don't they?
Yes.
Okay, so just like that belt, we're gonna think that that belt is still there. There's that hold. He's gonna want to drift. He's gonna want to stand up. He's gonna want to sit up. His job is to stay in this angle. There, tall, there. Good. There, so that'll feel like it finishes a different spot now, right?
Yeah, oh yeah.
But he's gonna have to hold an awful lot of abs, right? Because it's trying to pull him forward, so he's gonna have to use his erectors and his back muscles against his abs. There you go.
I actually get squeezed by the lower that hard.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I could do something different from there. That's crazy. Oh, there you go. Nice. So you just have to hold all that post. As I chose this post for you versus the one you kind of. Yeah. Here's where I kind of like.
Yeah.
Okay. So you just have to remember, it's not lean back from your chest. It's lean back from the hips.
Yeah.
Okay. So we're not just falling backwards on the weight. He's actually choosing to move his spine back on that plane.
Right here.
Yeah. Keep in mind, when this goes out, we've got to feel a lot of challenge here. Try and keep that. And then just give up whatever range you have to give up, because we picked a different angle here. There, that's it. Yeah, that's a different path now, based on your choice. There you go. I'm going to bring you back here. How about that? There. That makes sense? Yeah. So this is still forward. There. Got it?
Yep.
See how that changes the collarbone now?
Have you ever used the Aventuro? Like, actually, you know what? This was actually made by a strength coach. He made it for like universities. I forget who made it. Was it? I don't think it was Arthur Jones. No, who was it? I forget who made it. But yeah,
Arthur Jones is Nautilus. So.
Yeah, that's Nautilus. He made it for like universities in the 80s.
Very cool. The seated row.
Yeah, so with this one here, it's got on a swivel the handles.
Yeah.
That's how I usually do it.
So we don't have a foot plate.
No foot plate, but I usually put
But we got a
lot
big
of force,
chest pad.
a lot of force on my chest, and I hang over it.
Yep. Yeah, this probably fits a few people differently, right? Because we don't have a rotating handle, it kind of has to fit you where it fits you. That's right. Yeah. This can move this way, but it doesn't move anymore.
Yes.
It can do a little tilting.
Yes.
So that's cool. It's got a little bit of an option, but it might mean like, where does that fit me, right, compared to him? And what's full range of the machine? It's like, well, when this thing goes all the way back, it's like, I don't care if he can put it down right there. Because the big part is more, when's the free ride happening for most people, right? Where is it heavy for the machine? So you got a big effort arm here. So you got a big shovel handle, right? You got a really big shovel handle.
You should try it so you can understand. It's just a lot of tension in the short position, the stretch and the short.
So you can play with a little bit of this.
Yep.
You can change it while you're going.
Yep.
That I don't mind. Actually, I like that a lot. So I want you to think about deviating when you finish. So I want you to start here.
Yep.
Elbows drop. But when you get to the end, I want to see the handles coming. The handles coming to you. Try that.
Yeah.
So when you finish, I want that
Almost
handle.
fully.
I don't want this. I want this. I want you to add.
Okay.
I want you to add a piece.
Okay.
Right? Okay. Hold right there. Now finish the handle as you squeeze. There. Feel the difference in that now?
Yeah. Yep.
The handle's coming towards you, and at the end, it's starting to go in a different direction. So all of a sudden, it's like, oh, I'm going to do this, and then I can get a little further back, and all of a sudden, that's like, it's a whole different. Just that little change drops this a little lower, and all of a sudden, you've got a whole little different extra squeeze to go. Okay, otherwise, that path is coming up. If that was a fixed handle and didn't have a swivel on it, this would end up in a position
Rolled
up here.
Yeah.
And so, but it's like, oh wait, oh that stays down low. That change, all of a sudden, it's like, oh, that's a big change into my back, right? So that turns into a whole different thing for some of the areas we were talking about with Terry's and rear delts and all that lat position. Does that make sense now?
That's very cool.
So something silly like that little handle shift. You're talking about a couple different degrees, and it's like, oh, that creates a whole different exercise. So now we're gonna have to think about that perpendicular here, right? This has to be a perpendicular. So now we're back to that pulley arm challenge of a T-bar row, because we don't have a floating handle, we don't have a trailing arm. So there might be a path where you see how it ends up sneaking in right at the end. It starts going up, and he's going back. So he's gonna have to fight it off right there. So it looks pretty good up here. It follows, and then right here, see how it's flattening out? And his arm has to kind of figure it out. So I might say it's really good for the top end of this, and then I just wouldn't be bothered finishing it.
Right. So stick more through here.
It'll feel like a half, 2/3 range. Yeah, there you go. There you go. There. So this is where people go, oh, partials. I'm like, how is this a partial? This is where the machine fits you, and then everything else is the machine moving further, but you're having to come up with some other stuff. So this is not about partials. This is the equipment doesn't fit me for the whole thing that I can do. So it doesn't mean bad piece of equipment. But everybody wants to use the equipment the same way, and that's where you're going to see some people break, or some people tear themselves to pieces, or some people start fanatically following certain pieces of equipment.
Yeah, they might get some load on here, like right in here. It feels really good. It's great.
And so there's right there is where he ends. And if he wants to go further, it's not his actual range, so he'll start to have to make his body fit what the machine wants to do.
Awesome.
Does that make more sense?
Can't wait to train back.
Because then those are, yeah, exactly. Now he's going to go train back. Stay tuned.
I don't know if I want to know. I'm a little sore.
He's a little sore.
Oh, no, for you, I think it's your back's gonna hurt tomorrow regardless.
Yeah, no, yeah.
Yeah, your back's going to feel some of that.
Yeah.
But this is again back to, does this fit you? Does this fit? And then you could say, well, oh, I really like it out here. And then you go, I can only get this range out of it.
Yeah.
You know, even though you guys are very similar, it might be you're not.
Yeah, different arm length, or torso,
External control,
external rotation,
whatever.
Hey, what's up, guys? I'm not sure what we're gonna call this, but this is something I'm gonna be doing this entire year, is working with Eric SEIFERT. So this is our first sort of in-classroom session for exercise execution and proper selection for my body. So we went through a whole bunch of different exercises to see what fits me best. Which exercise I can get the most bang for my buck out of. So I'm going to be working with Eric. Eric has worked with tons of different top strength coaches, trainers, all different people in the fitness industry. He's highly respected. He's a little bit quiet. A lot of you guys might not know who he is, but he's had a lot of influence on a lot of people that you guys might look up to or watch for, a lot of education. So it turns out Eric moved to Burlington, right by Pure Muscle and Fitness. So Ben Pekulski hooked me up with him, did the introduction. So I'm so happy to be able to have Eric in Pure Muscle and Fitness and be able to help myself, all the athletes. So I'm gonna be working very closely with him. Today we went over back. So I hope you guys can watch this video, take a lot of the cues, apply it to your training. So each week I'm gonna be going over a different body part with him. Eric does both like muscle activation, so he's a therapist as well. So we'll be doing a combination of him working on me, and then a lot of stuff actually on the gym floor where you can see my mechanics, see what works best for my body, and just really maximize everything. So really looking forward to it. I hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you guys want to see anything specific, comment down below. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. Until next time.